Hi friends, in the last video we have discussed about meaning and definitions of economics, means basics of economics. Today we concentrate on micro and macroeconomics. Modern economic analysis has been divided into microeconomics and macroeconomics. These terms were first coined by Professor Ragnar Fritz of Oslo University and since then became very popular and have been adopted by other economists. Microeconomics. The term micro has been derived from the Greek word mikros, which means small. It is elective and not aggregative. In microeconomic approach, the attention is concentrated on a very small part or the individual units. Manson terms it as atomistic individualistic approach. Microeconomics is the study of the behavior of individual consumers, firms, or workers. Thus, in simple way, microeconomics means study of a small economic unit. It will not study economy as a whole. Importance of microeconomics. First one is understanding the functioning of the economy. It explains how in a free market economy the system of prices coordinates the decisions of economic units and determines what to be produced and how to be produced and in how much quantities. Microeconomics helps in explaining the mechanism behind determination of prices of different commodities. Second one is formulation of economic policies. It provides authentic tools for assessing whether government policies are having desired influence on output, employment, income, etc. Third one is allocation of resources. Microeconomics helps us in allocating the available scarce resources in an efficient manner. The fundamental problem faced by most of the modern governments is the allocation of their scarce resources among competing ends. Hence, it is the responsibility of the governments to prevent wastage and promote their utilization in achieving growth with stability. It means it helps in explaining how the scarce resource can be effectively and efficiently utilized by the producers in order to achieve maximum output. Fourth one is helpful to business executives. A knowledge of microeconomics helps businessmen and top executives to attain maximum output with minimum costs. It helps them to know about the consumers, consumer requirements, and assess the cost of their products. Fifth one is helpful to understand the problem of taxation. It is quite useful in understanding the implication of tax. It can indicate whether money burden of sales tax on a product is borne by the sellers or buyers, depending upon the elasticity of demand. Sixth one is helpful in foreign trade. In the field of international trade, A sound knowledge of price theory is essential to know the problems of trade, such as gain from foreign trade, balance of trade, determination of foreign exchange rate, etc. Seventh one is to test the conditions of economic welfare. Microeconomics is helpful in testing the conditions of economic welfare, for it specifies the conditions necessary for ensuring maximum satisfaction for the consumers and optimum output of firms. And the last one is helps in construction and use of models. Microeconomics is very helpful in constructing simple and useful models for explaining complex economic problems. In this chart, we can see that microeconomics studies product pricing, factor pricing, theory of economic welfare. It means microeconomics is the study of decisions that people and businesses make regarding the allocation of resources and prices of goods and services. This means also taking into account taxes and regulations created by governments. Microeconomics focuses on supply and demand and other forces that determine price levels for specific companies in specific industry sectors. For example, microeconomics would look at how a specific company could maximize its production and capacity so it could lower prices and better compete in its industry. One more example we can take here, that is, it talks about the individual tree but not about total forest. So, microeconomics also concentrate on the factors of production like wages, rent, interest, and profits. Next is limitations of microeconomics. Microeconomics suffers from various loopholes. Following are a few selected limitations. First one is it does not give proper and correct picture of the economy. Microeconomics analysis does not provide a correct and proper picture of the working of the economy. This is so because it is too much preoccupied with the component parts of the economy at the expense of the general working of the economy. Second one is it is based on the wrong assumption of full employment. This approach assumes other things are equal and is often based on the assumption of full employment. According to Keynes, to assume full employment is to assume our difficulties away. And the third one is wrong assumption of laissez-faire policy. Microeconomics is based on the assumption of laissez-faire, which is no longer in use. Fourth one is inadequacy. Microeconomics is not only inadequate but also misleading while analyzing several economic problems. The behavior of economy as a whole cannot be systematically and satisfactorily explained in terms of behavior of individual economic units like the consumer or the producer. Next topic is macroeconomics. The term macro has been derived from another Greek word, macros, meaning large. Thus, it is the opposite of micro. Macroeconomics implies a study of economic aggregates or the whole. It is that branch of economic analysis which studies the behavior of not one particular unit but of all the units taken together, like total national income, output, and employment, total consumption, savings, and investment. The problems like full employment, unemployment, and economic growth cannot be accurately investigated through the examination of small units like individual consumers, producers, and workers of firms. Macroeconomics deals with growth, employment, price stability, external stability, income distribution. It means the two main areas of macroeconomic research are long-term economic growth and shorter-term business cycles. Means macroeconomics is a branch of economics that studies how an overall economy behaves. Factors responsible for the growth of macroeconomics. Several factors are responsible for the growth of macroeconomics. Some of them are industrialization, rapid increase in industrialization and urbanization in general. Second one is production, rapid increase in production due to rapid growth of science and technology. And the next one is complexity and multiplicity. Influence of increasing complexity and multiplicity in the present day economic life. And the fourth one is consciousness among developing countries. Increasing consciousness among developing countries of the world to improve the living standards of their people is also one of the factors responsible for the growth of macroeconomics. And the next one is public sector. Increasing importance of public sector in all the economy and the role of government. And the last one is economic variability. Importance of macroeconomics. First one is functioning of an economy. Macroeconomics helps us to get an idea of the functioning of complex economic systems. All the economic models formulated with a view to investigate the functioning of an economy involve the aggregative variables. Second one is economic policies. Macroeconomics helps us in the formulation of economic policies. As a consequence of Keynesian revolution, the laissez-faire philosophy stands thoroughly exploded and governments deal with not only individuals but also with groups and masses of individuals, thereby establishing the significance of macroeconomic studies. Third one is business cycle theories. Business cycles are characteristic features of the capitalistic form of society. Macroeconomics helps in building many trade cycle models. Fourth one is inflation and deflation. Macroeconomics helps us to know the effects of inflation and deflation. It equally helps us to undertake the various steps to control the same. Measurement of national income. Next one. It helps us to know the distribution of national income. Further, it states the status of people in different countries. Further, the concept of poverty, inequality, etc. can be understood with the help of macroeconomics. Sixth one is study of economic development. Macroeconomics enables us to know the deficiency of capital with regard to poor countries and suggests various ways and means to reach the destination of economic development. And the seventh one is study of material welfare. Macroeconomics enables us to study the nature and the size of the material welfare of the people. Though the measurement of social welfare is not easy, it helps in generalizing the concept. Limitations of macroeconomics. Although macroeconomics has gained maximum popularity in the modern days, yet it is not free from its own limitations. Some of the limitations of macroeconomics are as follows. First one is excessive generalization. The greatest danger is the excessive generalization from individual experience to the system as a whole. What is true of an individual component may not necessarily be true of the aggregate. It may not be wrong if an individual withdraws his money from the bank, but if all the deposit holders rush to withdraw their deposits from the bank, then the bank will collapse. The second one is too much thinking in terms of aggregate. Another danger of macroeconomics is the danger of excessive thinking in terms of aggregates which are by no means similar or homogeneous. As Professor Boulding has pointed out, 3 apples plus 4 apples is equals to 7 apple is a meaningful aggregate. And 3 apples plus 4 oranges is equals to 7 fruits may be described as a fairly meaningful aggregate. But 3 apples first plus 4 skyscrapers constitute a meaningless aggregate. It is the last aggregate which brings forth the fallacy of excessive aggregative thinking. And the third one is the problem of aggregation. Macroeconomics deals with such aggregates as aggregate of consumption, saving, and investment. All these factors consist of heterogeneous elements. Though money is a only measuring rod, yet the value of money itself keeps on changing, rendering economic aggregates immeasurable and incomparable to all real terms. And the fourth one is irrelevant in less developed countries. Macroeconomic tools are quite useful in assessing the problem of industrially advanced countries. On the other hand, in less developed countries, the supply of capital being main problem. Its tools cannot be effectively used. Therefore, we can say that macroeconomic models are more useful in advanced countries when compared with less developed countries. Distinction between micro and macroeconomics. Microeconomics can be distinguished from macroeconomics, which is explained as under. First one is microeconomics is mainly concerned with the study of the behavior of individual economic units such as the firm, industry, consumer, household, etc. On the other hand, macroeconomics deals with the aggregate of these quantities like output, employment, demand, income, etc. Second one is aggregation in microeconomics is different from that of macroeconomics. It uses partial equilibrium technique to study the price output determination of goods or services in any given market situation. Whereas macroeconomics depends upon the technique of general equilibrium to study the determination of the aggregate price and output levels and fluctuations in these aggregates. Third one is microeconomics deals with distribution of national income among four factors of production, namely land, labor, capital, and organization, in the form of rent, wages, interest, and profit. On the other hand, macroeconomics is concerned with income formation, fluctuation, and propagation in terms of savings and investment. Fourth one is the central part of microeconomics is price theory, whereas the central part of macroeconomics is income theory. Microeconomics regards the relative price as variable, treating the general price as given, but macroeconomics is concerned with the general price level. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.